I feel like the physicality of architecture, of creating something in the world that I can see, that I can touch, that I can feel, that really made me fall in love with this career. And that's why ultimately I decided to put my soul and into it and really finish the university, etc.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arad from Oneistox, and I'm here presenting another mentor talk where we have a chat with renowned professionals of the construction industry from all over the world. Today, I'll be chatting about entrepreneurship and finding your niche in architecture with an architect and artist straight from Latin America to Asia and to the world, Pablo Luna. He is a Chilean architect living in Indonesia. While studying at Columbia University in New York City, he became familiar with the organic architecture movement happening at the time in Indonesia after he was invited to collaborate on a project in Bali. He's been practicing architecture through his studio, Pablo Luna Studio, where he has designed sustainable and eco-friendly buildings with bamboo and other locally sourced materials since 2016. Pablo Luna Studio has been able to make an impact on the industry by landing residential and commercial projects in Southeast Asia, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Chile. Aside from architectural works, the firm also creates jewelry and art, highlighting the numerous ties between different disciplines. So thank you, Pablo, for taking the call and sharing your time with us today. How are you doing?
Hi, Arad. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here and share a little bit of what I have learned over the years. Really thank you to all the team for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for us to have you here. So, shall we start with the interview?
Let's do this.
Perfect. So the first thing that I want to ask you is, how do you decide to pursue a career in architecture?
It all begins now 10 years ago. When I was back at Columbia University in New York, I was trying different careers after I pursued at the beginning business for 2.5 years in Chile, and I realized that it was not really my passion a skill that I really wanted to develop at that time. So I moved to New York and I started trying different classes of neuroscience, art, and in between those, I took one on architecture. I still remember the class was called Abstraction. It was a studio, and I went full on. I fell in love making the models, the process, having to have in consideration the space, the land, the culture, and at the same time create something physical. I feel like the physicality of architecture, of creating something in the world that I can see, that I can touch, that I can feel, that really made me fall in love with this career. And that's why ultimately I decided to put my soul and into it and really finish this university, etc.
Perfect. So it's pretty interesting that you have tried like different paths, and as dynamic as your history with the career university has been, also you have a very dynamic resume of works ranging from architecture to jewelry to art. So could you give us a synopsis of your professional career up until this point?
Yes. So I was really, even though I studied architecture, I thought I was going to dedicate my life to sculpture. I was really interested in organic shapes and how education through art can really change anybody's life. So back then, I was really trying. I was doing sculptures and I was showing my work also in different places in New York and in Chile mainly. And an opportunity showed up to come to Bali. I met in New York John Hardy, who was in the search of an architect that could support him here in Bali to finish the construction of his hotel called Bambuinda. And I really jumped into the opportunity. I thought it was the perfect mix to work with bamboo and natural materials, as he showed me and inspired me. And I thought it was like the closest to sculpture that architecture will get. And So that was the first like big step, moving from New York to Bali, and decided to really continue my studies and profession and supporting John in creating this. From him, I learned a lot. I worked a year and a half with him, and I built my first few buildings and designs with him. After a year and a half, this is 7 years ago, I decided to start my own studio. I thought I had the basic skills, not the necessary, but the basic to begin. So I started alone, and it was a big journey to learn how to find clients. Actually, at this stage, my business background of 2 years, as I told you before, also helped a little bit to know how to make the numbers, how to create the legal documents, yes, etc. And in between this journey, I got in the middle, I started teaching some classes about bamboo. While teaching one of the innovation classes, I got inspired of making jewelry. So I started very humbly doing a few pieces of jewelry with bamboo and reclaimed silver and gold. And slowly, that through the years ended up being like a second business of mine that is called Pablo Luna Jewellery, which actually I share the space here. My architecture studio is at the top of the building that I'm now, and on the bottom is our jewelry studio, which is very exciting. I call it architecture for the body, everything that we're doing there. But it's been very gradual. Everything, like my career, I see it as I kind of been following. There was no big plan. I've been following, learning, trying to apply everything that I learned from John at that time, and now the clients that I have up to today. And that's been the key, because all these experiences have allowed me to like see what is the culture, what is the vision that I have, how I want to contribute to the world, to my team, etc. So that's kind of the small summary. After it's been like key buildings after I stopped working with John, was called Tree House and Farmhouse, that I did with another beautiful designer that gave me opportunity to work in his property. His name is Walker Zabriskie. And those buildings at the beginning, because I was starting, I did the architecture and I did the construction. I was full on, because it's really in construction where architects learn the most.
Yes.
We can put a lot of things in paper, but it's construction where we get the big teachings. So after building those two buildings, then I continued the journey and brought more people into the team, etc.
Perfect. Yeah, I think I've heard some people in the past in many places around the world say that architects really become architects in the site, not in the school, because in the school they teach us like mostly theory and stuff like that, but really in the site is where we get to know the people that build it, the context around it, and really how to not only be a professional but also be a person with the other people that are working with you, right? So circling back to this whole experience about the business background that you have and the first-hand experience that you had with these buildings, what was the thing that inspired you to become an entrepreneur and begin your own practice?
There were a few elements. One was that I really wanted to find my voice since very young, since this art calling that I told you. I really wanted to see like what I have to contribute. So it was like a personal challenge, one side. The other is that John really inspired me really to do this. He would always tell me like how everybody has to like find their way, contribute, challenge yourself. And the biggest challenge was to try and be out there, see that I could stand by myself in the world. But at the same time, very humbly, it was like a personal challenge, understanding that I'm just a human being and I want to contribute the way I can, the best way I can. So that was really the big motivation, to see that I could do this. It was like a personal challenge. Then, of course, I had like a language of architecture that I felt, a language of expression that when you are working for somebody, you cannot fully explore. And to tell you the truth, it's been the most rewarding experience, because being an entrepreneur, you realize that there is so many points involved. You are challenged in all possible ways. Your team is the way your team interacts and works is a representation of who you are. You learn to work with people a lot, to take responsibility of everything you do and everything your team does. It's something that I truly suggest for everybody to at some point try, and to not be scared of failure, because those moments of, I have had quite a few already in my career of really thinking like, wow, this is almost unbearable. But you gain so much strength, so much confidence on what you can do, and so much lessons. So much lessons. So yeah, it's been a beautiful decision. I don't think it's also for everybody. I don't want to say everybody has to be an entrepreneur. It's a calling. It also depends on your sensitivity, on your you have to be really honest with yourself, and I think it has to be very pure. You really need to have something that you want to say, and find the people that fall in love with that vision to contribute to you to do it, because doing it alone is impossible. It is always, you can do a lot, but it's teamwork, it's collaboration, what brings the magic, and all the designs, everything that we're doing at our studio is full on my team. Like it's beautiful, what they are creating. I'm constantly inspired by them.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. And now that you've been on both sides, both as a worker with another firm and as an entrepreneur, do you think that architects should start their own firms as soon as they graduate, or should they get some work experience beforehand and then jump on their own?
I strongly believe you should get some work at the beginning. Work experience. Learn, get mentors, get people that teach you the way, that show you their mistakes. Architecture and construction is a long-term career. It's about ages. There is so much to learn, so much to discover. It's endless. Don't rush. Learn from the people that are already doing it. Gain all the experience. See how they relate with others, how they put their projects together, what kind of organization is needed. For me, having John at the beginning was a great inspiration. Also, the biggest inspiration was seeing somebody that I already thought could retire, but that he was working harder every day and putting like everything he had to. So take the time, get inspired. If I didn't have these people in my life, I don't think I will be where I am today. They really motivate me still, like in a soul level, to do what I do.
Perfect. Yeah, I agree 100% as well. I remember when I came out of university, I was thinking like, no, I'm gonna put my own business and stuff like that. But once you start, like you said, relating to people that have more experience, you start to see that the construction part of it is just a small part of it. You know, like being a person, a professional, it's something that we don't learn in university. And like you said, being in the field, in the experience, gives you that skills. So for example, now that you have your own firm and you begin your own practice, can you recall how did you land your first project?
Yes, I perfectly recall. My first project really was very challenging to get. Even though I already had some buildings under the umbrella with John, and I had designed and built them, they still were projects that belonged to all the machinery that John had already set up. So to get a project for me was still very challenging, even though I can prove that I had the experience. Even not much really, only a few buildings. But so my first client was Walker Zabriskie. He's today a long-time friend. And to get the first building, to be able to build it in his property, he challenged me for 6 months to do all kinds of small things. I would help him fix the door in the entrance of the hotel, work on the landscape, prepare presentations, and then really take from scratch, me alone, all the design process so he could really feel the building. So he challenged me during 6 months in a very beautiful way to give me the opportunity to build the building that is called Treehouse in his property. And that was a game changer, because designing that and building it by myself, I had to find the construction team. That was the biggest portfolio. After I did that, my self-confidence grew a lot in that, okay, I can manage this, I can do it, I can go through the challenges of construction and of design, and I can end up with a beautiful result. But it was not easy. And I think as an architect, you need to have a portfolio to be able to get serious clients. So I got blessed in that way. And my recommendation is always for young architects to either find the person that will give you the opportunity and try to convince him, because that it takes convincing. Architecture, there is a lot of money involved, it's big responsibility. And if not, to create it. Create the project yourself, present it, try hard. I have done it millions of times, that I create my project, I go to the client, I show him the idea. And actually our latest building in Chile resulted that way. I still do it. So as an architect, you can not only wait for projects to come your way, you create the projects.
Yeah. Perfect. I also believe strongly in looking for your own opportunities, especially right now that we have so much connection to everywhere in the world. I think it's also something that many people don't delve into, like going there for the opportunities and opening your own doors. So parting from that, the whole idea of making your own doors and trying out different things, I want to pick your brain a little bit with the next few questions. Is that okay with you?
Of course.
So do you think that in the business of architecture, is it better to be a generalist or a specialist?
I strongly believe you need to be both. You need to be able to look at things with perspective. You need to be able to see what is going to come in the future. What are the trends? What are the ideas? What are the materials? What are the new ways of leading, like a team? That is the biggest and the most important part of any architectural firm. How you relate with your team, how you create a system that inspires creativity, that is meaningful, that everybody feels challenged and committed to the vision and the values and the culture of your studio or company. So you always need to be very open, very general. You need to know about finances. You need to know about the legal. You need to know about design, about construction, human resources. And you need to learn. I take classes of marketing. The marketing of my team, I took the videos. I saw it with Vale, that is our marketing manager. We learned, okay, how we put this in LinkedIn, in Instagram, etc. How we can do it better. We try different programs. So I am involved in every part of the business, and I found it so fun. And I think for any architect, it would also be super cool. And at the same time, architecture is all about details and about connections and about strong foundations, the proper structure. So you need to challenge yourself there very much as well. And also find the people that support you. I again really believe that you need to know yourself. My tendency is to be more of a generalist, to go in the super in-depth details. It's hard for me, but I do it, and I challenge my team to challenge myself. I always tell them, and I do take the time from time to time to go to the depth of the detail. Even though we have many projects today, it's like, okay, let's review how we want this corner to look, how we want it to feel. So you need to know how to balance both and find the right people that will support you in the areas where it's not your strongest one. I think it's also very important to play your, to see where you are strong, and of course go super, like with everything you have in there, and where you have abilities that you need to reinforce or get stronger. At the same time, work on them, but not put so much pressure there, and find who can support you. Of course, at the beginning, if you're starting your studio, you need to find a way to do it all, and that's part of the journey. But slowly, you can bring the people that that we create a cohesive, a coherent, and integral team.
Excellent. Yeah. Usually when we first begin is like the one-man band, right? Or orchestra man, where we do everything. And yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with that. Now, could you please list the things that you think are crucial for people to know about owning a business? Not necessarily just for architecture like business, but in general, as a business owner, what do you think is essential for people to know?
Okay, the number one, the essential part for me is to know that whatever business you have, you're gonna have to put your soul.
Yeah.
That you're gonna have to be very disciplined. You're gonna have to work late. You're gonna have to work on the weekends. You're gonna have to learn about areas that you don't know, and it's gonna be fun, but at the same time, it's gonna be challenging. For me, the key areas today is first find really your values and maybe your mission and vision for the company, or what is the culture, what is that you're bringing to the world, the what, the why, the how. Really figure that out, figure the core of what is, because you really need to wake up and do work when you're not gonna want it. So that has to be super strong for you to go full on. For me, what it works a lot, and I know this is more general, but constantly find inspiration. I read a lot of books. I always get inspired by the people like our ancestors that were before us, the people that today are leading big companies or leading small companies, but leading it with the heart and having a balanced life. That's the second one. See, like really ask the question. If you want to start in architecture, go to the architects, learn what they're doing, what they like, and see if that resonates with you. Then, of course, the general is to the organization. Try to divide your time accordingly. Some time for creation of new projects, to learn about marketing, to learn about organization. I think the basic stuff. But for me, the core is what I said before: values, vision, and of course, that changes through time. My definition of sustainability, that is at the core of what I do. My definition of what is beautiful architecture, it changes, but and of course, as we go, we change, and sometimes you start with something and you end on something that is different, but you can trace it back. So don't be scared of change. The final recommendation is be completely honest and completely responsible. Honest with yourself, be able to take criticism, create a spirit of growth and excellence. And if you want to lead a team, you have to be the example. And it's not for them. I always remember, even if you are an employee, which I believe most of us humans have been at some point, and many will be, and it's a beautiful place also to be, is that we are all three human beings. We decide to go and work for that person for different reasons. So I always tell my team, you're not here because you made a deal with me or a contract. It's because you decided to come here and be the best version of yourself. So even if you don't start your own business, be the person that you're inspired to be. Life is one, and when you put all your effort, all your soul into something, everything comes back. You can call it karma, you can call it anything. Of course, life is like this. You're gonna have challenges. You're gonna have moments that you are not gonna, wherever you are, having a business, being an employee, anywhere. But if you tried your best, it's like going to the gym in the night when you didn't know, but you went, and then you come home and you feel great. That's how you feel the same. And this is every day. And the people that I admire the most are the most disciplined ones. The ones that, like I was reading about Kobe Bryant and like the Olympics when he was with the dream team, etc. And how in the free day, everybody will go party. And then they will coming back from the party and they meet Kobe Bryant in the elevator and he's going to the gym. And then everybody's like, wow, this guy. And you can see that it reflected in everything he do, not only how he played. When I seen the videos of how he speak, how he approach life, I want that guy on my team always. And we all can be like our own, let's say, whoever it is, inspiration for us and for others, but mainly for yourself. Don't do it for approval. Don't do it for ego or trying to prove something to somebody. Do it for yourself because it's beautiful. It's a gift. You are not only aligned in the business part, you're aligned with yourself, with who you are. You have the courage. I think the courage is the key part, especially for young architects, because the best architects are the ones that have most experience, at least to my eyes. And I'm very young. And there is many things that I don't know, many things that when I look back, I could do better and that I'm trying to improve for the future. But you also need to jump. So have the courage to jump, go for it, do it, learn, take responsibility. In some of my buildings that I have made mistakes, I have had to pay money for them to be finished because I made a mistake. But now I look at the building, I'm proud. Even though I lost money in the whole process, business-wise would not be ideal. But in the long run, it's because now those buildings are beautiful, are well done. My clients are happy. They have brought me more clients. So it's all like and it's very magnetic. I believe that if you're putting your best, people get inspired, even or a spark. And I say, oh, yeah, I want to work with this person, or yeah, I should create something with him. Like sometimes, and it's more about human relationship.
Just about energy sometimes, right?
Energy. It's a lot about energy. And if you are in that flow and if somebody sees you putting your, that's why I watch a video on Kobe Bryant, because he was putting his soul into it. So, oh, wow, I want to see how this guy does it, even though I don't really like much basketball, but it's kind of cool to see somebody go full on. So yeah, that would be the advice.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. And also circling back to how we relate to other people in the field. We know that in the architectural field, networking is crucial, right? So how were you able to connect with people that could help you in your career?
What I did was to expose myself to events that I like. And to create the businesses where I saw an opportunity, like to talk openly, like, hey, I would love to do this for you. What do you feel? We could create this together. Most of the time, to tell you the truth, the projects did not go where I imagined or did not happen. But from time to time, if one comes out, you learn a lot. But at the same time, my spirit is I never do anything without, like, I have this feeling that I go to places where I want to go. Don't come from a place of need. Come from a place of abundance, of that you want to create. You have ideas, you have the spirit. You are young or not, but you still have the young energy to challenge, to invent something new, or to do something that is needed, for a community or anywhere else. So yeah, it's been very organic for me. Been very organic. I haven't had to really, I pure heart, ethical, and the thing sometimes is the less expected place. You find somebody like in a dinner with your friends, and then they invited somebody, and you share what you do, and he feels inspired. But of course, you need to get out there, work on everything you do. Take good pictures with photographs, document, share your values. Architecture is a matter of all the arts. Is that host literature, dance, sculpture. So actually going to events that are, for me, I have a lot of group of conversation. Like I have a book club, and I got a client from my book club that I never expected. I have another conversation group, and then things spread, like, it's like that magnetism. When you're full on, people are curious, and that curiosity spreads around.
Then again, the energy, right? The energy attracts the right people to one's life.
Exactly. And also remember that everything is perfect. Sometimes it had happened to me. I had the project, wow, this is gonna happen, and from one moment to the other, no, it's not happening. And of course it hurts, because you feel like, wow, but I have really been grateful for all the projects that have not happened as well. They did not happen for a reason. I always tell myself everything is gonna be okay and everything is perfect. And don't be afraid. I have been 2 times in my life, in these 7 years of career, that I had literally nothing. Like bankrupt, and they were the most beautiful experiences because they taught me first this fear that I have in relationship to money, that wow, if I have nothing, like what is gonna happen? And I realized, wow, nothing happens. My friend allowed me to sleep in his couch. I was able to reinvent myself. I had opportunity to have more clarity. We all go through those moments and we never know. Of course, I want to live a life full of abundance with good wealth, not have to worry about this. But the journey of the entrepreneur, you never know. You need to be ready. And that's why when I say not come from a place of need, go from a place of creation, of intention, of abundance, is more powerful than we really think. Put your heart into whatever you do. Accept reality as it is. There is lessons everywhere. Life is a gift. And go from there. And in the hard moments, ask for help. In the sense of a good talk, a good book. I had to ask my friend to stay in his house back in the moment when it was hard for me. Be humble. Everything has its own pace. Follow that. Trust the pace of your life and of the world. And always be grateful. See, there is very impossible to be in a bad state when you're saying thank you. So every day I say thank you for what I have, for the things that we're doing, for the mistakes that I have made, that I can grow upon, etc. So it's like a positive loop. Start slowly, and things will come. And you realize that you not need anything. We put a lot of our happiness and a lot of our self-worth in our career, in this name, I'm an architect, or in what I've done. That is all beautiful and amazing, but it's not a strong foundation to be in peace with yourself. It's all inside. And it doesn't matter if you only do designs and you never build anything. Life is not about that. Life is much more about enjoying what we have around of ourselves, about trying our best, putting our spirit. That's the big, for me, the biggest thing. So and everything for everybody comes at the moment that it has to come. And I remind myself this all days, because even though today the company is blooming, you never know. There is so many lessons to learn. There's so many challenges, and
Perfect. Thank you so much for that.
Cool.
And also, like, talking and circling back to what you mentioned a moment ago about, like, sometimes the projects don't fully realize, or they don't even begin. And we know it can get a little bit difficult when, especially now that everything is based on social media and like everybody seems to be showing their best side and stuff like that. Once you start working as an entrepreneur, or even a freelancer for that matter, how do you make sure to stay relevant in the game and ahead of the competition over time?
Yes, to stay relevant, I'm always learning, always seeing what others are doing that I like. Like yesterday, I was reviewing Norman Foster website. I learned about something that they're doing that is called retrofit. Super curious. I see many architects going that direction. I see what other departments they have. I see whether that resonates with what I want to do. I'm always learning in all fields. That's the first one. And you have to improve the systems every day a little bit. How we can do the marketing a little bit better, how we can do the organization of the team, how we can save some small things. The other day we had a 1-hour meeting to arrange our Google Drive so it's easy to find information. And we took it seriously. We went full on into it and saves a lot of time. And so it's always trying to improve, and you see everything that gets written, or that hopefully gets written in your list, or however you organize yourself. Slowly, those things start getting done. And so put all the different areas of your business. See where you want to go in a couple of years, in the next month, and try your best. And there is no other way. And when you have failures, really acknowledge the mistake. As I said, take the responsibility. Go full on. Many times I have had the feeling of, I will quit. I will not do this. I regret doing this project. But no, go full on. Take it. go through the challenge. Some nights it's difficult to sleep when you make mistakes that are costly or that you could have avoided. And look back, learn from them, take note, they will not happen again. New mistakes will come, learn from them, keep going, and you keep improving. There is no other way. There is nobody that is perfect, especially in this industry, so complex. So just slowly, step by step, ask to the mentors, challenge, accept.
Perfect. And well, the next question actually kind of is answered by what you just mentioned. The question is not easy to set up a business, and I'm sure occasional fails, like we just mentioned, are something every entrepreneur faces. And the main question of this is, how do you deal with that and bounce back? But I think that you just explained it perfectly about like looking back to them and realizing that they're part of the journey, right? Like they're
yes,
not.
and make a system so they don't happen again.
Yes,
so if,
excellent.
For example, you made a mistake in a detail or anything, create the system, make in your organization, create a system to review that, and so never happens again. Take the note, system, go ahead.
Excellent. And well, that brings us to the last question, which is that what advice would you give to young architects who might be lost about what they want to do after graduating?
Advice: go work, send your. Look, I receive a lot of people that want to work with us today. It's all about energy, as I said. I have hired people that had not the best portfolio in comparison to other, but has the best attitude. One is the attitude. Second, of course, prepare your best portfolio. Third, see what are the skills that are needed, that are relevant. If you really want this, challenge yourself and learn the basics. See, as I was saying, all these different points. When you come to a studio, I don't need just an architect. I need somebody that can lead with clients, that can improve my contract, that can invent new ways, see the future. Now we're focusing on hotels. See what hotels are needing in the future, how we can implement that. Go full on. Go full on. And yes, work 1 or 2 or 3 times. Take a couple of years, take the lessons, get the mentors, as I said before, and move from there.
Excellent. Well, that's all the questions that we have for you today. I just want to thank you so much for your time, for your words. I'm sure that the people that will be watching this video will take a lot from what you just said. And I don't know, you want to part with any words that you want to share for these last couple of minutes that we have left?
No, just say thank you to all the team, to you, Arad, for the invitation to share a little bit about what I have learned. Just encouraging everybody, follow your heart, try your best. A lot of work needs to be done. I hope you go into sustainability a lot. That is what the planet needs. Create from a place of caring, thinking on all sentient beings, not judge yourself, and keep people around you that love you, inspire you, and challenge you to be better every day.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Pablo. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see each other in the next one.